Rejection is not what you think it is. It may not be what you think it is. If you embrace the unity consciousness model of thinking, believing, and acting, then you understand that everything and everyone is just you under different circumstances. And so if you have a history of abandoning yourself or self-betrayal, of rejecting yourself, in other words, meaning going against your own values, your ideals, what gives life meaning to you, and you do it again and again and again, your experience in what you call outer projected reality is going to be one of feeling rejection. So I want to help you understand this a little bit better and give you examples of what this looks like through some client case studies and some experience that I had actually today in my Unity School program. And if you're new to this channel, I'm Catherine, and I am here to ignite a unity consciousness revolution. And this starts with helping you change your concept of yourself. And you do this through understanding that you are just everyone and everything under different circumstances. It's all you. You are not just part of the one consciousness, you are the one consciousness. And if you rest in the truth of this particular working premise and idea, it uncomplicates your life rather quickly. So let me dish on this for a couple minutes with you. So one of the clients that I've been working with has been struggling, let's just say, and suffering needlessly with this idea that everyone and people, clients, have been rejecting her. Her relationships have been riddled with this theme of rejection, whether they are personal, platonic, romantic, sexual, and even her professional relationships. And so what happens a lot of times when people come to work with me, they come to work with me based on the symptoms they're experiencing, and we very quickly go past those symptoms and just see those as the byproducts of something that's actually working on a much deeper level of understanding within them, usually an unconscious level of understanding, but then we make that conscious when we work together so that they can see that the symptoms aren't the problem, the symptoms are the byproduct. We go into the root with a cause. And if you've had any kind of repeating theme in your life, chances are it's been there for a while. It doesn't matter what the theme is. It could be rejection, like my client Amy experienced. It could be themes of self-betrayal and self-abandonment, like another client experienced in Unity School. We talked that out today. And if you're experiencing it now, I'll bet you dollars to donuts, it's not the first time, it's not the first go-round. This has been a theme in your life, probably for as long as you can remember. And it may have started with being told no for the very first time in your life. You probably never heard that word before you got to a certain point in your life. You were a tiny human and you heard, no, don't do that. You're not allowed to have that, or that's not for you, or anything that smacks of limitation, lack, scarcity, and something that someone else can have, but not you. And so we develop all kinds of ideas in our mind about, well, if there's a kind of person that can have this thing and I'm not it, that means I'm lacking. That means I'm limited. That means I'm at fault. We don't have the cognitive ability or even discipline at a very young age to make the discerning choice of saying, well, maybe it's something I'm doing that's not aligned with having this thing. We tend to go to the assumption that there's something to the core of my being that makes me wrong. I'm not doing something wrong. I am wrong. And so we can develop a lot of guilt around that. We can develop a lot of shame around that. But here's the kicker. Those meanings, those misperceptions, those misunderstandings, those misinterpretations of an event that just happened, we created those meanings. At the end of the day, we're responsible for not what happened to us, but the meanings that we gave to what happened to us. And when I work with sessions, when I do breakout sessions with my clients, which is what Amy B and I did together, we got to go to the root. We got to go past the symptoms of I'm being rejected in my business. People are turning me down. I don't feel sexy, or I don't seem sexy enough to this person. None of those things are true. Those are meanings that she gave to things that just happened. And then the meanings became the things that created a self-concept, created a construct or an idea of self that actually doesn't exist, because those meanings that she gave to those things that happen don't even really exist, except as constructs and concepts of the mind. But even though those experiences that just happened, and we conflate them with certain feelings around those happenings, that doesn't make those meanings true. It doesn't make those perceptions or assumptions true. But if they have been our working assumptions about who we are at the core of who we are for, let's just say, a lifetime, then there's going to be a lot of symptoms that result from that particular concept or construct of self. And until you go to the root and change the concept and the construct of who you are, trying to change things in your outer environment, like getting more systems or a better email funnel in place, that's just like rearranging furniture. It doesn't really do anything to address the core original cause of why you feel that way and why you keep feeling that way when you're presented with similar situations that look like, feel like, and you're giving meaning to as rejection. And here's another thing that happens. When I talk about creating your reality with people, I got to be honest with you, a lot of us have stopped creating our reality a long time ago. Just like Amy did. She stopped being an active creator of her reality because she gave herself completely over, her entire concept of self. She gave that completely over to this misperception, this misunderstanding, this wrong idea, this perception of herself in error, that she is the one who gets rejected. And it's really been ever since that one time that she has rejected herself over and over and over again. When anything brought up the same feelings, any happenings, circumstances, situations would bring up the same feelings as the first time that she was told no. She automatically would assume, I'm not allowed to have this, I'm not allowed to be this. This person, this situation holds all the power over me and what I'm allowed to be, do, or have. Again, completely untrue. But if it becomes our working assumption, our working premise, our entire paradigm and self-construct of being, it's a very powerful and pervasive and stubborn illusion to kind of wiggle ourselves out of. And it's not that we have to go deep to figure these things out. It's about realizing that you stopped creating your reality because you realized you made the assumption that you are someone who is rejected. And with that filter in place, you are not free to experience the fullness of life as you're meant to. And you might be presented with so many opportunities and situations for other things, but you're literally creating a veil or a sphere of reality within which you operate. And outside of that, nothing else exists. You literally can't see it. And if you don't believe me, study the reticular activating system, which is scanning millions of bits of data, and a small fraction of which are reporting back on the reality of your experience simply because of what you believe to be true about yourself. And all the rest of the data, all the rest of infinite limitless possibilities are veiled to you simply because you are believing this one thing about yourself. So let's talk about how we continue to perpetuate that paradigm by, if we believe that to be true about ourselves and we assume that we can't break out of this shell of rejection, then anytime a better opportunity comes along, we'll often make choices. We'll be at a choice point. We'll be at a place where we could pivot and go into a different, better, more preferable reality, but we don't, because we assume that this is just another situation we're going to be disappointed. This is just another situation we're going to be rejected. This is just another situation in which we're going to experience the sadness, all the disillusionment, all the disappointment, all the despair of not being chosen. When literally the whole time we're making a decision not to choose something different. I know, it's pretty deep, it's pretty intense. So we can suffer under this illusion, sometimes for a lifetime, until we start connecting the dots, that it might have happened that we were rejected or told no at one point. But if we developed a concept, an entire paradigm of self, and a construct of our reality of who we think we are based on someone who is rejected, even given a new set of choices, a new set of opportunities, we won't see them from our veiled perception as a way to make a change, as a way to choose differently. We just see it as another opportunity to be the exact same person again. And until we start opening our eyes and consciously realizing that each new moment brings freshness of new possibility. If we're willing to see that, if we're willing to break ourselves out of our own paradigm, if we're literally able to break a legacy and a destiny of choosing against ourselves, choosing against what we want. And it won't matter how many times you say, I want this, I want to be that. Oh my God, if my life could only be like, it won't matter how much you want or desire or reach for something new if you're not willing to change your entire concept of self. So this is my wheelhouse, folks. This is what I do. And in the session I did with Amy, when I helped her connect these dots and helped her to start choosing differently, not only was she starting to land new clients, people were finding her seemingly out of nowhere. Not only was she able to break a certain trend of attracting certain romantic partners, she was able to feel free enough to say, you know what, I'm good right now. I don't need a romantic partner. In fact, she made the realization that the constant search and seeking for new romantic partners was just a way to corroborate these old beliefs that she is someone who is rejected. And she actually found like a place of space, of giving herself some space and some peace to say, you know what? I don't even need to look for a new partner right now. I'm just going to take a step back and not look and actively search. I want to be okay with me for a little while. I want to just live in this new me, unfettered and unperturbed, and really enjoy that. And what happened just a couple of weeks later is that she started talking with a man who was like the perfect guy that she'd been thinking of for a long time, and started to develop a relationship. It's only been a couple of weeks, but so far it looks pretty good. And it's because she stopped this seeking and searching, because she was doing it from a frame of mind of like, I'm just going to find someone else to reject me. When she pulled back from that energy completely, her perfect soulmate, at least that's how she was describing him to me, found her, because her vibration had changed, her frequency had changed. She wasn't attached, she wasn't needy, and she wasn't operating under this false perception and false impression of another relationship just equals another opportunity for me to be rejected. And in that powerful moment, she chose herself, she chose her freedom, she chose to just be in the space of just loving on herself in a way that she never could before. That was the vibration that attracted what she was looking for with the clients that she found with her new soulmate partner. And it's never surprising to me, but it always leaves me in awe. This kind of synchronicity and synergistic kind of energy that happens when, yes, I was working with Amy, and our session was 3 weeks ago. And then today in Unity School, we touched on the same thing, and the energy was fresh in my mind because I had just spoken with Amy and checked up on her and was following up with where she had, what kind of progress she was making after our session. And one of the lovely ladies in our Unity School group today in our Q&A session, which is hot seat style coaching, you can ask me anything, where we're touching on this again, where if we learned one time to go against ourselves and make decisions that we think are going to be better for somebody else, but we go against our own values. We go against what has meaning for us. We go against our own ideals. In other words, we're at war with ourselves. There's no greater form of betrayal or abandonment than when we're doing it to ourselves. And so when we do that, that sets up a very powerful inner state of being that is only going to ever reflect and project in our what we call outer reality, which is just a holographic simulation of what's happening in our inner state. The only things that are going to show up in your outer reality is different ways of experiencing that kind of betrayal, rejection, abandonment. So when you start realizing it's all part of one big system, nothing in this great cosmological order is a closed system. Everything translates and speaks to everything else because everything is just energy and frequency and vibration. And this is what concretizing the unity consciousness paradigm in a very practical way can look like. And so I do have a couple things that I want to just share really quickly. There's Unity School. That's the best way to work with me. If this is piquing your interest and you're like, yeah, I need to get on top of this in my life. I need to get in control of my inner reality. That's what Unity School is all about. And this is on the school platform, and it is a monthly private membership community. And I'm in the fledgling stages of growing it, but I know it's here to benefit so many more people. So you could check that out. The link is in the comments. The other option is the breakout session. This is not for everybody. This is for people who are really visionary entrepreneurs and they want to use this kind of work in their life and their business because they are in service to their community, just like I am, showing up and doing YouTube videos, conducting group programs, doing coaching and mentoring and teaching, even though I don't call it coaching so much anymore. It's more mentoring and teaching. Doing that in group programs, doing that in my Unity School membership community, sharing the best of what I have to offer in different places like Substack and on Insight Timer and in my email list. For those of you who really feel called to leave the world a better place than you found it, the breakout sessions are for you. It requires kind of a bigger commitment and also a client application because I want to make sure that you're the right fit and I'm the right fit to work with you on what you're working on in your life. So I hope this message has found you well. And it gave you some insight, whether you want to work with me or not. I hope it gave you some insight, some spark of inspiration, and maybe, a perspective shift, a different way of looking at these false impressions you might be having about yourself, where you might be perceiving yourself in error, and where you can start turning that around and shifting that in your life right now. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out. And the more comments that you can put down below about what this brought up for you today, what resonates, how this helped you, that only helps to boost the algorithm. And that means you see more of my content, and the people who need to see me and hear these messages, they get to see more of my content. So thanks, everybody. Bye for now.